I'm 24 and I still live at home. The only time I moved out was for college between 2019 and 2023, and while most kids after graduation signed a lease, got their own place, and started their own life, I decided to come back home and move back in with my parents. At the time, I felt like I was a loser, like I was taking a step back. Fast forward a couple of years and this is the norm. Most kids are ending their leases early to move back in with their parents or are just staying at home longer before moving out. Right now there's a psyop in the United States that if you are 18 years old, you should move out and start your own life. This is outdated advice that was predicated on economic conditions in the 1970s, which was basically if you were old enough to get drafted for the Vietnam War, then you were basically legally an adult. But right now there is no draft and there is no war, and the economic conditions couldn't be any more different. Back then, in 1974, the average rent price was $150, whereas comparatively, the average phone bill, including data, is around the same price. And I saw a statistic, a $450,000 home, which good luck even finding that. But in order to afford a home of this price, you would need to be making around $66 in hourly wage. And that is just not realistic at 18 years old, or right out of college, or in your early to mid 20s when you should be starting your own life. I say all of this because if you've already moved out and you're thinking about moving back in with your parents, or you're on the verge of trying to leave and you don't know whether or not you're making the right decision, consider what I'm saying. Sometimes you need to take a step back to take 2, 3, 4, or even 5 steps forward. Now, I'm not saying any of this to just mooch off your parents, to wake up late, be undisciplined, and just take everything from them. What I am saying is use this as a time to build a strong foundation, to save money, to build the good habits, to learn life skills under less stress and with more time. And while you're at home, you should be contributing. You should be taking care of all of your expenses, and you should be taking care of some of the home's expenses. Chip in for groceries, chip in for things that you can afford while still being at home, because you're going to be paying for everything. You might as well get accustomed to that feeling now. But while you're at home, you don't have to worry about rent or other random bills that keep coming up. You can save most of that money comfortably while still having the good self-esteem that you are actually contributing while at home. This is also not to say that you shouldn't eventually get your own place and start your own life, but what I am saying is that make sure you are doing it in a way where you're setting yourself up for success. Suffering for suffering's sake is a recipe for disaster. What the Western world gets completely wrong is this whole idea of individualistic society, that everything is for you. There's only your success. All of what you are doing is most important, whereas most of the world, especially East Asia, Southern Asia, has a much more collectivism society where the idea of community, of groups, is at a higher level or is on more of a pedestal than the individual person. And I say this because I'm part Indian myself, and in Indian culture, most kids don't leave the house until their late 20s and early 30s. Now, that is a little bit late, but the whole reason that they do this is because when you do things as a family, that bond is there. You're able to grow together. You're able to weather tough times and the storms together a lot easier. Trying to do all of these things alone is so hard, because when families stick together, they grow together, they contribute together. Workloads are cut in half or cut in 3, 4, 5 ways, depending on how big your family is. Everyone can chip in money together and grow their money together. Whereas again, when you're on your own, you're doing this all by yourself. And in terms of trying to get ahead by yourself, let's say right now, if you have your own place, you work a 9 to 5, and after your 9 to 5, you come home, you try to do a quick workout, you cook your own meal, you eat, you have to clean, you have to do laundry, do all these chores. By the time you're finished with all of this, it's 8, 9 o'clock. You're not going to have any energy to expend on doing any work to try to escape from a 9 to 5 or to try to escape from the rat race. It's already too late in the night that you're going to start thinking about winding down and going to bed, so you end up scrolling or watching Netflix. There's no time. Whereas when you're at least at home, the workloads are cut. One day someone does the cooking, one day someone does the dishes. In terms of money, the money is split, so you can at least save some of that money to invest in building something outside. When you live at home, you have that extra money and that extra time. Whereas again, when you're at home, by 9-10 p.m., you're already so maxed out that you need to go to bed for the next day. And then on top of that, with all your rent, with all your bills, with everything that you're paying for, you're not gonna have any extra money left over to invest in building anything worthwhile. So again, when you're at home, this isn't a time to just mooch, to be a complete degenerate and a gooner. Use this as a time to build in a stress-free environment. Save your money, but also contribute. But now you've freed up so much of that extra capital and time to invest in building something on the side on top of your 9 to 5, so that once you move out, you actually have something else going for you already. And this might mean that you might have to push living in the city a little bit later. This might mean that you need to take a little less vacations right now and live it up a little bit less. But you're doing this so that you can live it up even more later, because you have more life skills, you have more money, and you've done this through that extra time created by living at home. As always, I wish you all the utmost success, because there's plenty for all of us.